Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? This is your boy Chi-Town Neil. Chi-Town Neil. So, to tell the truth, podcast. We want to apologize to you guys. When we have a new studio. We have some things that we had to get straightened out in the studio with the sound system and stuff like that. So, I said, you know what? Bowtie Bill was like, Neil, you need to get on your laptop, do a quick little 5-10 minute show, something like that. We're back in studio next week. We will be dropping 3 shows next week. But this show is just gonna be a quick little live, just giving our audience something to be able to watch since we haven't been on here in a while. So we're gonna talk about 3 things you need to know about Caleb Williams that you won't hear on the media, or sometimes you might see on the media because the media have they're projecting how they, I guess, whatever their thoughts are about Caleb Williams. Also, I'm gonna talk about 3 teams that must win in the NFL in Week 5. So I'm gonna talk about that. Keep it about 10 to 15 minutes. But we are back in studio next week. Thank goodness. Right? I just want to apologize to you guys. Like I said, we got a brand new studio. You guys are gonna love it. We did drop one show about 3 weeks ago, but we're gonna be back dropping 3 shows a week. We're gonna do a college show, gonna drop on Fridays. The NFL show is gonna drop on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So anyway, let me get to it. First thing I want to say, I saw a lot in Vegas last week. If you guys want to see my story and all the pictures and stuff like that, you can go to my Facebook. My Facebook is Neil Matlock, Neal Matlock, Madlock. You can go to my Instagram, which is Neil Neal_Dallas. So yeah, Bears fans, we took over Vegas last week. I was in section 344 where they blocked the field goal, but that's enough about me. Let's get to some stuff about Caleb Williams. So here's the funny thing. I hear a lot of people talk about, Caleb Williams, the fingernail polish. All right, let me tell you guys something. Anybody that you get into a debate with about Caleb Williams, if they bring up fingernails to polish, just stop talking to them. Okay, this is not a popularity contest. Now, if you don't like that's different, but you can't say that Caleb's not balling. So when I hear somebody say, he got fingernail polish, I'm like, all right, now don't get me wrong. I'm a 50-year-old man. I'm not a big fan of the fingernail polish either, but I tell you this, the kid is balling. So I really don't care. Got fingernail polish, and I'm not going to say this. He's good as this guy, but I'm just using it as an example. There was a guy that played in Chicago, played basketball, that wore a dress and fingernail polish. I think you might have heard of him before. His name was Dennis Rodman. So some idiot's going to get in the comments, Caleb's not. I know he has not proved anything yet, but my point is that it don't matter. You can play, you can play. All right. Number 2. Well, some people might say, well, he can't really play. Let's stop. I hit you guys with a little bit of facts, okay? A little fun fact. And this is actually on my Facebook page. This is how you know the media has a narrative. I saw James Harrison on this podcast. Like, I just can't deal with Caleb because of the nail polish. Different other NFL players are saying that. So everybody's stuck on the nail polish. But I'll hit you guys with a little fun fact, all right? So in the first 21 games, this is comparing Caleb to all the first overall draft picks of all time, all right? The first 21 games, Caleb has, let me see, I got it right here, 28 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. All right? That is the best start. Let me stop right there. As soon as I say the best start, that should grab people's attention. That is the best start in a career by an NFL quarterback that was picked over number 1 overall. So you might say, okay, I can remember some of the people drafted first pick overall. So you know your buddy, you know your boy. I wrote down some of the names that you might have heard of. Some of these guys that went first pick overall. I know one of them, you guys might have heard of a guy named Peyton Manning. Not saying Caleb's better than him. My point is that his first 21 games is better than Peyton Manning. There's a guy named John Elway you might have heard of before. There's a guy named Eli Manning you might have heard of before. Another guy named Troy Aikman. All those guys won Super Bowl. Anyway, Matthew Stafford, Drew Bledsoe, all those guys won Super Bowl. Michael Vick and Cam Newton. Okay, so am I saying Caleb is going to be better than those guys? No. But what I'm saying is this. If he's had hard than any other quarterback ever in history as the first overall pick in NFL, you don't hear a lot of people talk about that. He's 28-8. Okay, he's 28-8. That's all I'm going to say. Also, if you're comparing him this year, another thing you want to hear, out of all the sophomore quarterbacks, 7 out of the 10 stats, Caleb is first. The other 2, he's second, and I think it's a QBR or percent, I think it's percentage, whatever. He's like fourth or something like that. But he's first 7 out of 10. This is the type of things they won't say because they want to push the narrative because a lot of people don't like Caleb. They want to keep to make the minions feel good. Like, I knew it was right about Caleb. You're not right about Caleb. Now, the Bears suck. That's my team. I can say that. Yes, they playing better this year. There's a lot of games, if you watch Bears games last year, that Caleb balled out in the fourth quarter. Actually came back. And then our defense gave up the lead late in the game, like we almost did against the Raiders. So Caleb is not the problem. I'm not saying Caleb is playing like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes is not what I'm saying. But I'm saying for a guy that is on his third coach in 21 games, I think the other quarterbacks that got drafted with his draft, they had a lot of stability. Got the same head coach, and he had to go through a lot of stuff. Now, I make excuses for him, but I don't know if those other guys could have panned out as good as Caleb. If they had to go through half the stuff, this guy had to go through it. So that's just something I want to let you know. Oh, by the way, he's third in the league this year. Not comparing to other quarterbacks. He's third in the league this year with touchdown passes. Got 8. And I actually believe he leads the league in total touchdowns. I think he has 2 or 3 rushing, but he has 8 touchdown passes this year. So all this stuff that, he's not looking good, he's not whatever, trying to project out there. Just know that's why we call it the Tell the Truth podcast. A lot of the stuff that you're hearing on these different media outlets, I won't say their channels, ESPN, Fox. Anyway, they're just talking to so people that do not like Caleb can feel good about themselves. It's a false narrative all day long. But what I do want to talk about this Sunday, we got 3 teams I feel like they got to win. They got to win this Sunday. One is Dallas Cowboys. I'm down here in Dallas. Cowboys are 1-2-1. They're playing the New York Jets. Now, New York Jets have been playing good, but New York Jets will always find a way to lose a game so far this season. The Cowboys will have to win that game. Jets have not laid down for anybody. Only one that kicked the butts was Buffalo. But everybody else, the Jets have been fighting in there trying to hang in with them. So the Cowboys are going to have to win that game. If they win that, they go 2-2-1. I think that is a must win. And then the game that's really intriguing to me this week is 2 1-3 teams. I'm calling it the Desperation Bowl. Not the Super Bowl. I'm calling it the Desperation Bowl. That's the Baltimore Ravens and the Houston Texans. Both of them 1-3. You got the Colts flying high and Houston's division. You got Jacksonville flying high in their division. You know, luckily for Baltimore, Cleveland and Cincinnati fluttering around. Cincinnati got lucky with Joe Burrow, so they only got to kind of worry about Pittsburgh. But you can't let Pittsburgh get too far away. So I don't know if Lamar going to play this week. They saying he might not play. I'm just saying, but that's a must win. And truth be told, if Lamar don't play, I might have to go Houston. But I tell you this, there's a guy named C.J. Stroud that hugged Caleb last year and told him, try to son him, give him some advice. I don't know if you guys saw the stats comparison on that. Since that game, Caleb has more yards, more touchdowns, and less interceptions since that game. So, but you don't hear nobody talking about C.J. Stroud like that because they like C.J. Stroud. So basically, I'm telling you that Caleb has been better than C.J. Stroud since the last year. I think that was week 2 or 3. But you won't hear the media talk about that. That's my opinion now. This is tell the truth. The stats back it up. They might say, well, Caleb don't win. Of course he doesn't win. The team was dysfunctional last year. All right. Coach got to call timeouts, putting the ball on the wrong hash mark in the Green Bay game in Chicago. Anyway, so since the C.J. Stroud game was Stroud to hug Caleb at the end of that game, no one's going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you right now, Caleb has more touchdown passes than C.J. Stroud. He has more yards and less interceptions since that game. So this week, C.J. Stroud in Houston playing against Baltimore, I feel like that's a must win. I'm calling it desperation. Whoever loses that game, I'm not saying they're not going to go to the playoff, but it's going to be very difficult. And if Lamar, I don't know. One thing I do want to say, I brought up to a close friend of mine. He's a big Baltimore Ravens fan. Can we get rid of this narrative? Here's another false narrative. That's why our podcast is called Tell the Truth. Once again, we are back in studio next week. So I had to jump on live from the house to get some content out to our crowd. But one thing I want to let you guys realize is that this narrative that the Baltimore Ravens have, this shutdown defense, since the middle of last year, the Baltimore defense is overrated. It is not good. I don't know why people keep thinking they are. Ed Reed, T Sizzle, Sugar Ray Lewis, all they gone. Now, I'm not saying they got no talent. They got Roquan. They got my man out of Notre Dame, Taylor, But one thing I have not been impressed with the Baltimore Ravens, I have not been impressed with their defensive line. They look like the Bears' defensive line. They can't get home, can't get no pressure. So I just think that what I've noticed about Baltimore is every time they play a very good, they give up 27 points. Just go look at the track record from this season. Play Detroit, 27 points or more. Play Buffalo, 27 points or more. Going back to last year. Now, Stroud, supposed to be a good quarterback. The problem is that Houston offensive line is not all that. But if I had to pick, if Lamar's not playing, I might have to go with Houston. Because one thing about Houston is Houston defense is better than Baltimore. A lot of people do not know that. Because Baltimore has a stigma, great defense. Living off what they did 2 or 3 years ago. I'm talking about defensive wise. Baltimore is an offensive team. They're not a defensive team. I haven't saw it in the last probably 18, 19 games, going back to the first 4 games this year, the last 15 games last year. Get rid of the narrative that Baltimore is a defensive team. Trust me, if you go look it up, majority of the time, Baltimore, in their games they play in, the over comes in, unless they're playing a division team. They're not playing a division team like Cincinnati, but even Cincinnati games were high last year, high scoring. But they're not Pittsburgh or Cleveland. Any other time, if they're playing against a serviceable quarterback, it's going to be the over. That's what my gambling people not telling you to bet it. It's going to be the over. They're going to give up 27 points. Baltimore have to score 30. That's what I'm worried about. Can they score 24 points? What if Lamar don't play? So if Lamar's not playing, I might have to go to Houston. But I'm telling you right now, that is a desperation game. So this week, just give me back a recap. Cowboys need to win. If they want to keep the hopes alive, I feel like that's in the Desperation Bowl, to me, is the Baltimore Ravens and the Houston Texans. All right. Also, like I said, we're back in studio next week. I want to tell everybody just thanks for watching. And we're going to make sure we drop it to our people to let them know I did a quick little 12, 15-minute video. I'm going to be doing another one in the morning. I'm going to be dropping my picks that you got to have for college football on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? One of them I can get to you right now. Bet the over on Notre Dame. Anyway, but like I said, we're not responsible here at the Tell the Truth podcast. If you gamble and you do not win, but if you guys know our record, we usually right around about 68% right on college football, 73% right on NFL. So it's kind of like what we do. We're pretty good at this. So Tell the Truth podcast will be back in studio next week. My co-host, Bowtie Bill, will be on the couch. Y'all going to love it. If you haven't, we dropped weeks ago in the new studio. Sorry about this week and last week. We had some technical difficulties in the studio. We had the new board and all that stuff, but we're back in the studio. We're back dropping 3 shows a week. I want to tell you guys, thank you for supporting the Tell the Truth podcast. To all my Bears fans I saw down in the Raiders game, it was great. If you're just tuning in, like I said, if you want to see the videos and the pictures from the Raiders game, you can go to my Instagram, Neal, Neal _Dallas, or you can go to Neal Matlock